Hello and welcome back to Potato Core. We are going to be going through some stuff that I have made recently. So this is the one we want to kick off. It's called attract mode. We learned what attract mode is like a little while ago, a couple days ago. Let's do let's go back to where we started from. CD, I don't know. npm run def. Is it already running? It is not. 4747. So it's this one, but it's up to date. Localhost 4747. Attract mode, the arcade cabinet performing for a room with no players. Sorry if I sound a little out of breath. I've just been picking up my exercise routine, and this is shortly after taking a shower, right after that exercise routine. I'm still tired. In an arcade, what is attract mode? So you could think of it. Attract mode is like when the game goes idle and then it just kicks off and starts playing by itself, so other people can watch it. So if you're interested, you can pause and read some of this stuff because that's what it's talking about. What is the primary purpose of attract mode in an arcade cabinet? To let it cool down, to pause the game, to advertise. It's for advertising purposes. So what did we want to do? We wanted to make an attract mode for Explore the Cell, not only for advertising purposes, but because while I work on other stuff in the background, I think it'll be helpful for me to just because there's like 120 games in here now. Some of them are broken. Some of them I've gone through and made them fun to the point where I enjoy them. But what we really want is let's just start here. So this one's pretty basic, but when something pops up, you can see that like a star is popping up, the sun, and then it taps on it automatically. So while we do stuff in the background, we are going to have this running. Also, I noticed that if you're interested in like using Opus clips, I had done a video recently, and on Opus clips, the problem was it just zoomed in on my face. So I might even want to shift this a little bit. Let me see if I can bring this down a little bit. The key thing about Opus clips was that it was automatically generating captions. It was finding out the parts that were interesting in the conversation. But the problem was it was zooming in on me and there was nothing interesting going on in the background. I think at this point, you've ever seen one of those Let's Plays. Some people will just watch a video. And I mean, this is like kind of like leaning into brain rot, but this is the stuff that I made. And I guess we might get philosophical on this one because I would argue that with, I don't know what I'm doing, what is the nature of creation? Because I'm using AI to make these, I'm guiding these things. So in a way, I'm maintaining them because the AI is not responsible for like maintain. If I tell it to maintain itself, it was still me who was trying to maintain it. If I tell it to create, it is leaning so heavily on the creation of the past that I feel like it is still just a maintenance mode type of behavior. Why am I getting so? Most of this doesn't matter. So let's say if what is the correct way to discuss something like AI when it comes to making things? Let's just zoom this in. I am making software by prompting AI, but it doesn't feel like coding. So it's the same way that I might have said this before, but maybe we can clip this one. When you read this sounds so pretentious if you don't if you're trying not to understand what I'm talking about. So let's say you are working on reading a book. You're reading a book, right? Do I have a book near me? Of course not. I do. I do have a book. I have Introduction to Algorithm, third edition. You can't see it. Maybe if I put my head here. Introduction to Algorithm, some edition, right? What is it? Third edition. Big book. I have not read the whole thing. Barely read any of it. Perfect. Okay, encryption is a public key system. Bob encrypts the message M using Alice's public key PA and transmits the resulting ciphertext C equals P of A of M P subscript A. I don't even know what I'm reading. So yeah, we can work with that. So encryption in a public key system might involve transmitting ciphertext C equals P subtext A of M. I read this in a book. What does it mean? How do I read this? Like, what is the correct nomenclature for describing that in the context of number theoretic algorithms? I should just read this book one of these days. This probably is way more useful for me than some of the other stuff that I'm working on. Subtext P, oh no, A, C equals P. I don't know if this is going to be important. It's Pam in capital C. So what am I getting at here? With, oh no, I lost it. What was I think we were talking about, it's on the nature of underscore. Explain to me what the underscore is. I like this game, actually, this accelerator one. It's difficult, especially halfway through. On the nature, explain to me what the underscore is. When we talk about I was reading X, or I read book X. So you read book X, and I say to my friend, did you read book X? And they're like, yeah, I read book X. I gotta articulate this properly. When we're talking about I read book X. So if someone says this is what it is. If someone says to you that they read something, and then you mention to them, and then you try to bring up some unique component of that book, the physical copy, and they are like, oh well no, I didn't read it, I listened to it in an audiobook. Like, neither is wrong, but on the nature of truth, I don't think it's always pretentious to be like, oh, you didn't read, like, oh, you didn't read it. Like, it's usually pretentious, right? When someone's like, oh, I read this book, and then they're like, oh, you start talking about the book, you're both engaging, but then you come to find out, like you go to that person's house and you're like, oh, can I see a copy of your book? There's a page missing from mine. They're like, oh, I didn't actually read it, I don't own the book, I listened to it on audiobook. Now, it's super pretentious to be like, oh, well, then you didn't read it, like to assert that to them, but to like to treat that as a discovery. Oh, you didn't read it, like, oh, you listened to it. I think that it's important to preserve what is true, but at the same time, like, I know it's conversational, it's semantic, it's probably not worth like getting annoying over. I just try to, like, when people are arguing on the internet about like whether someone read it or not, of course I think it's contextual. If the context declares that you did, like, if you have context clues that they didn't read it, I guess it's like I'm trying to get to the bottom of like manners. Like, I mean, obviously, if you like, because just because someone read the books with the words on the page, or read the book via listening to it on an audiobook, makes no greater assertion of like the understanding one has, or like the wisdom one derived from a book, you know? And there's always going to be that mystery of like, what did someone actually mean? I think that like realm is interesting because it's meta, but sometimes when you talk about that realm, it will always come across as pretentious. It's like, who cares? And I mean, sure, who cares? I care because certain faiths have like oral traditions, and then like for me, a lot of it comes back to like what is it, like biblical stuff, where people memorizing the Torah. I know it's a big tradition to be memorizing the Quran. Then like with the Torah, I've been memorizing some of it because I find it super interesting. I also find that memorizing the exact words that Jesus spoke super interesting. That said, when I've listened to it more than I've read it. So like, does it matter which one I said? Are people pressing me on which how I'm doing these things? No one cares. No one cares. In most instances, no one cares. But like these traditions, like I think who was it? Who was it that said that the writing system will be the death of memory slash end of an era, or something along those lines? I know that someone said something along these lines, and like it comes back to like creating with AI. When I say that I created with AI, like I feel like that might evoke the same type of response someone might have with when someone says I read that book when they listen to it. And I really like this triumvirate. This I've derived from like Hindu scripture: the creator, the destroyer, and the maintainer. I think it's like Vishnu. Who are the creator, destroyer, and maintainer in Hindu triumvirate? Trimurti. Trimurti. So I know some. Just shout out the Eastern Orthodox Church real quick, because one time when I went there, they had the Nag Hammadi library in there, and I was like, "Isn't this like Gnostic teachings? Isn't this like heretical?" And the father of the church there said to me, "Oh, we're not afraid of knowledge here. Like you can read that book. It's just like heresy just means that's not what the church teaches. And if you're going to go about evangelizing heresies, we are going to separate ourselves from you, but or like and try and correct you. But if you're like truly like trying to get to the bottom of things and you engage on these like honestly and openly and like recognize that the church is the authority on the matter, that is not a thing that is it's not a problem. Like, yeah, explore these things. So like in some regards, I like this notion of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as being like mechanisms within the individual for like not mechanisms, they're just behaviors, and like not to like channel or like yoke yourself to like Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva, but to consider that like sometimes when we say we create something, we didn't create. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz. That is Hebrew for in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Enarche epoiesen hoteos ton oranon kai ten gain. Enarche epoiesen in the beginning. Enarche epoiesen hoteos. In the beginning God uh, in the beginning created God. I think enarche epoieson in Greek. Does this mean to create? Bereshit in Hebrew. No, bara in Hebrew. Bara in Hebrew. Does this mean to create? Do those words, epoiesen, and bara, do those words, epoiesen and bara, have different ontological groundings? Isn't one to create from nothing and the other more poised for creation or like making? And then what about memra? And then in Aramaic, it speaks of the memra being the word when translating Genesis 1. Now, I hate when like I just end up coming off as like my own like coming to my own conclusions just from studying the beginning. The way that like and I don't like arguing people on this just because I don't think that they're giving it enough credit, or they give too much credit to people who like didn't give it credit. Like, I believe that God would have presented this in a way where like it's worthy of study, all the different languages, and as like a perfect place to begin. Not only like there's so many ways to describe why I think it's beautiful, but I'm not gonna like I guess the most grounded level one is like if you go walking your dog and you're listening to Genesis 1, you can see it before your eyes and you might be like, yeah, that's like, but like why is that the beginning of the Bible? That like why is like such a beautiful like this is what happened. And then some people talk about how this is directly in contrast to some of like the violent beginnings of some mythologies. So like well, this game is fun. But here we go. The harvest. You have the light. You have the earth. The grass of the fields. There's no trees. I failed. The seeds. Potatoes are technically seeds. Um, are potatoes seeds? I mean, like, if there was an FBI agent on the end of like my Claude code sessions, they would be like, "This dude is clearly off his rocker." So we have these different expressions and terms. It comes back to truth. Like, did I create the creative? I was channeling some type of creative insight or instinct. I'm trying to create. There's something I'm trying to create. Now, whether or not it's accurate to say that I created these apps, I definitely like shepherded them. I brought them here because they wouldn't exist without me doing this. At least in the ontological sense of uh, like they would not have been something that I created. Of course, it's in that nature of being something that I orchestrated. Like, that's not to say that someone else couldn't have prompted things the exact same way and got these results. But being that these are stochastic systems, the time would also have to be true for cybersecurity and biology. Um, that's insane. Like potatoes got flagged. That's funny. But we also have here, like, I wonder. Let's just. So we're asking all these things. You know what? Let's just check it back out. I don't know what I'm doing. Made with, not made by. Prompting is the next rung on the abstraction ladder. What is the correct way to discuss making? I am making software. Discomfort is real and worth. When I read, it's not very like tuned for chatting with an LLM, but the discomfort is real. I had to just cut myself off because um, I'm skim reading, and that's not really good on camera. The technique I learned was if you try to listen to the last letter of every word you say, you can come across as more precise. But we're done with that now. Like, not, you don't do that forever. You start to notice the last letter. So what is correct? What is the correct way to discuss making things with AI? I am making software by prompting AI, but it does not feel like coding. The discomfort is real and worth taking apart because it comes from conflating two words that were never synonyms. I don't think I said coding and making soft. I am making. I don't control these bits. Making software and coding. Coding is one implementation technique. Handwriting instructions in a formal language. Making software is the whole job. Deciding what should exist, specifying its behavior precisely, judging what got built is right, and owning it when it ships. Coding has always just been one layer of that stack, and it is the layer that has been getting automated away for 70 years. Yeah, so we've gone from like C to like Python, all the way to like why it does not feel like coding. First, it is not coding, and that is fine. It is closer to being an editor, a tech lead, or a director. It's actually like a higher paying job, actually. Your work product is judgment, not keystrokes. Second, the effort heuristic. Humans use human humans use felt struggle as a oh humans use felt struggle as a proxy for legitimacy, and syntax wrestling burns in a way that reviewing a diff does not. So the new work registers as not real even when it produces more and better software. I don't like this font. I I'm blaming the generated code for why I can't read. And I think at the bottom it says what it is. Let's just go through some of these. I want to watch France versus Paraguay, the one who upset Germany. So, sorry. A book says public key encryption might involve transmitting ciphertext. I'm interested in this one. How do I read that? Read it aloud as C equals P sub A of M. Perfect. This is the CLRS style formalism, and every piece has a name. The pieces. M is the plain text, the message you want to send. C is the ciphertext. Where's M? Oh, I want to send M, so that's my text. Okay, the message. The scrambled result you usually transmit. PA is the public key of participant. Look how poor it's doing. Oh, it's supposed to hit things. Assist. See, this one, there's some issues with this one. And it doesn't have the fix. I wanted to be able to skip games. I think in this realm, there's like a lot of games like this. In a phrase like on the nature of, what is the underscore called? And what is... No, let's finish this. This is worth reading. The scrambled result you actually transmit. PA is the public key of participant A, usually Alice. The subscript is not math being done to P. What? C is the ciphertext. The scrambled result, so we're trying to get C, and we have P sub A of M. P sub A. What is P sub A? All right, is the public key. Okay, public key of Alice's public key. The subscript is not math being done to P. It is an index of who, saying whose key it is. P of B would be Bob's public key. Pam is ordinary function application. PO is ordinary function application, exactly like f of x. The load-bearing idea is that the book treats a key not as a number, but as a function. Treats a key not, because you use the key as well as the private one to encrypt. So the equation equals the ciphertext C is produced by applying Alice's public key function to the message M. Anyone can compute it because P of A is public. That is the whole point of public key system. This game's busted. The other half of the formalism. So I guess it's called a formalism. What is a formalism? Also, there is way too much white space on the left and right side of the web app. We need to not squeeze the content so much, or side chain an agent that will make advertisements for potatoes.com collections, all or one of the hats, or one of the hoodies or t-shirts. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It'd be cool if I had ads on my videos that are in the app. Okay, the correct nomenclature. Subscript as the index, that's the A. Plaintext, ciphertext, key pairs, P of A. Public, secret, function application, permutation of a set, a one-to-one on the mapping of itself, inverse functions. So the secret key of the private key is M because it means composing the two functions yields the identity. Each undoes the other in order. The message M raised to the power A. The message M raised to the power A. What? What does the... Oh, who? Index. Which participant? Yeah. And a phrase like in the nature of what is... I messed up that one. If someone says they read a book, but actually, listen, neither of them claim... But on the nature of truth, is it always pretentious to say you did not read it? No, it is not. Yeah, I know. I've asked a dumb question. The argument feels unresolvable because it is not actually a disagreement about facts. It is a verbal dispute. Two people using the same words in two different senses and mistaking that for a factual conflict. That happens all the time. I think that a lot of times it's just when people want to argue with each other. I like this game, Everything Everywhere. It's like you have to guess the word and it's saying the word in a bunch of different, I think it's using Latin or like, what is it? Not Latin. It's using a bunch of different languages. But this game's tough. I don't even know if I built it right because there are ways that you can play it and it just like starts to fail. I just have to take note that this one's not working. But they're like, I feel like I haven't even seen like at least 40 or 60 of the games in here, and I'm kind of just waiting to see a new one before I start digging back into it. All right. Read is polysemous? The coexistence of many possible meanings. Interesting. We just want to encode it. Feel good as what potatoes adds. Both. What does it mean? Carries multiple meanings. The game just started. The deeper structure is the type distinction. The book is ambiguous because the work, the abstract tips, and the okay. The deeper structure is the type token distinction. The book is ambiguous between the work, the abstract text, the type identical across hardover or hardcover, ebook. I would also like us to change the font to one that is much more legible. For some reason, as I try to read the content on these pages, I often struggle. I think it's the weight, but also the font family. This one's tough. It's like you're supposed to find the best route between all these. I don't know if it makes you. Oh, look at that. So and I also just like made the attract mode just like play all the games. I'm impressed by myself because I'm gonna. I'm not gonna keep yapping about that. The book is ambiguous between the work and the copy, the physical token in your hands. The loose sense of read is about the type. The strict sense involves a specific kind of encounter with a token. What? We broke it, my nose. Okay, so in the meantime, let's see. Oh yeah, let's check out the potatoes dashboard in the meantime. Like I'm happy where we are here. We're gonna deploy this one of these days, probably sooner rather than later. Let's go like this. I think it's localhost 9001. So I really didn't like the old version. I'm not even gonna show it on the screen, but this is the new version. I actually copied somebody, how someone else has it. Ooh, and we also have the session desk, which is good. Let's see if we've got a fictional. A couple things to close it out with. We got to make sure we get the objectives in here. The whole idea is projects, objectives, tasks, automations, testing, UX, heuristics, and systems. I was not having a good UX with these. But so we can watch this one in action. Once this, I don't know what I'm doing. This might be a good one for me to do a context clearing. Context clearing, new create business identity documentation, context. I like that it is integrated, but I feel like we might want a route or a page for a project declaration with the objectives. One thing that we swap out just because like there's no reason to have a task to like I guess I could. Like I like the idea of objectives being broken down into tasks and objectives having one clear KPI that you have to like move the needle on. But I don't like in a project declaration format like declaring a task that has to be done. I prefer the T to be target market. For a project with the objectives, target market, and like I like leaning towards automation. So we do put potential automations, testing strategies, UX goals, user experience, heuristics to keep in mind while building, and systems. Each project would get that declaration and be embedded here via a link. Something's going on. So I think this one's good now. Let's go live with that. CD, I don't know what I'm doing. Git add, git commit, done. Git push. And then in the meantime, we are going to do a context clearing. I haven't done context clearing since I updated this format. The format before, let's see, does it have any? It does. So it looks like this. So what it does is it generates for me, for potatoes, a potential design based on the session that I had. The tool learned what it was for. The hideous tour. Yeah, I mean, I could have this on a t-shirt. It is hideous. And it is. My dashboard wasn't ugly. I didn't know what it was for. I like it now because like the goal really for it is this is my dashboard that I will return to. The goal is to have it something to return to when I make these videos that we can then work with. So this was a previous one. My robot played 125 games, and all I got was was this lousy T-shirt. That's true. I might like. The thing is, I take these and I do what I want with them. I don't like. I'm not stuck on that design. Harvest the session. It still owes players. Oh, another thing was that for potatoes, I made it so that, or not potatoes, explore the cell. So explore the cell dot. What are we talking about? Harvest. It will actually. It's usually more difficult with, not usually more difficult, but with Flutter, it doesn't maintain that slug necessarily. Maybe there's probably a way to do it, but I can like route this way. So it brought me here. One thing that I noticed on web, I mean, it's not really made for web, is that there's some cutoff in this modal. This should just be up higher. But it did, when we did one of our passes, is it going to let me go? It's not. I have to start over. When we did one of our passes, we had it do like every single design for how to play. So the manuals are coming up to speed. I just know that we're going to reach like singularity point, and I feel like I'm going to be like right before the singularity, I'm going to be like boom, boom, boom with just like so many different verticals that are already like, I think, pretty well thought out. That's my hedge. Osmosis. I don't think I played this game. I haven't looked at all these yet, so I'm not really worried. But I mean, let's play a game that I know is fun before we close it out. I mean, isotopes is tough. All right, so hydrogen, we need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. 5. 1, 2, lock in. Build 16. Oh no. Oxygen, isn't that 8, 8, 8? Yeah. Hydrogen. That's 1. It's got to be 2, right? Yeah. Hydrogen 3. Don't know what that's for. It would be cool if it had a little factoid on to the side of it. Aluminum. What? Or like even if it just had the periodic table, that would work. I'm satisfied with this for now. I'm interested to see if it did it encode it. Nope. That's the problem. I always have to like accept that it's allowed. Did it? Oh, maybe this. I'm gonna say Yumatsu. It just does such a good job at like. I was just gonna say, yeah, go off. You did it right, but the shape already exists in your project, worth aligning to the altitude I did before. Potatoes projects defines this exact schema, types, identity, target market. My understanding, declaration. Yumatsu, as well as the 30, 60, 120, and FAQ for each project, like you did for potatoes, leading with the abstract to stir curiosity is what I'm going for. Spiral Arms. This one looks fun. I already have a game that's kind of like this. Ooh, if I made sounds, that'd be cool. Yeah, I feel like there's a different way to do this. It'd be cool if these were coming in from all angles and you had to click them while they're moving. I have another one where, like, as the circle encroaches, it also moves left and right and then up and down and then spins in a circle and you have to like line up a part of the circumference. So I might do something like that for one of these games. I just like how it can feed my brain. Tools I learned. Is it going to do any? It's halftime changes the rules. Standard model build 13. Yeah, it's got a build number in the bottom left corner for some of these. So yeah, Potatoes is a fictional potato company that ships real products. Think The Office, but everyone's a potato. In the merch, games, and books they pitch actually exist. There's also this goal of like, want to work on like sports, not on sports teams. I want to be like the procurement advisor for a variety of men's leagues and maybe little league teams. I don't know about the little league teams yet because I don't have any kids. I feel like I'd want kids to get involved in that. But for the men's leagues, I looked up the numbers. If I found a good supplier, it'll probably cost me like $100 per $150 per supplier. It'll probably take like between 5 and 10, so like $1,500 to really get the quality that I'm looking for like jerseys and pants, and then an extra like $5,000, like $1,000 to $5,000 to get. I'm thinking I want a soccer team, like a men's league soccer team, both uh, nearby and away. And then I want to do it. I have like a couple other ideas for like teams that they would play. You'd have like the potatoes team, you'd have the buttas team, you'd have the peppers team, you'd have the tomatoes team, and then they'd have their own leagues. I'm thinking morning glory and nightshade because you have the sweet potatoes and then the potatoes. So I'd have all these, and I can imagine exhibition matches. Why? So that I could get like real content of these people competing. I hope that I actually do these things and I don't just talk about it. Another thing that I thought of recently, which like I mean kind of already exists in some capacity for a lot of financial institutions, but it's this notion of like being able to, and I say this one like planning to do it in some fashion, but I think if someone else did it, it wouldn't bother me too much. It's this idea that let's say you had like you wanted to, I don't know. I'm going to use terms that I know I'm not going to use correctly. You have something like an index fund. What is an index? Well, let's find out. What is an index? Now we're gonna do this the easy way. What is an index fund? To mimic the performance of specific financial market benchmarks. Yeah. So, someone correct me if this is not an index fund. Basically, let's say for me, I have like, I could just do it right now. Drop $5,000, right? And like now I have like all this stuff. But in my mind, I have to do, there's some like logistic stuff that I have to work out. What team do I want to do? Do I want it to be tennis, basketball, football? Probably not football or hockey, even though I've got some cool designs for those. But like I think tennis, golf, basketball, and soccer would be like the early, like soccer would be like stage 2, but stage 1 would probably be basketball, tennis, and golf. And with those sports, I would have the designs for potatoes. We'd have all these designs, and what I want to do on like Coinbase or Robinhood is I want to say like, hey, segment this part of my wallet. I want to put like every day take $500, or every day take $5 out of my bank, and every month take $500 out of my checking account to put into this fund. And then that fund is going to be its own index. So it would have some XRP, it would have some Ethereum, it would have some XLM, it might have some Bitcoin. And like in my mind, once it reaches like the liquidation point in my head, I'm going to liquidate. I'm going to say, I've got $5,000 saved up in here from this variety of coins that are somewhat random, right? Like, well, not random. I think XRP is going up. So what's going on over here? Black hole heart? What is this doing? Oh, is it spinning? That's kind of cool. Is it controlled by anything? I don't even know how this game works. I think it would be cool. You know, you have your own little index fund, XRP, XLM, Ethereum, and it gets $500, different periodicity. And then by the time it reaches some threshold, I get a notification, I clear that out, and then I just send it. It could be like for travel. I mean, you have that with like savings accounts, but I want a different investment instrument because I think that there's way more upside potential for crypto or even stocks. Like all right, keep buying SpaceX, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Google, like until there's this much money, like in the valuation, and especially if you could put both in there. If you could put all three in there, you have like, all right, put $50 in cash over here, then you have $50 in like fractional stocks for whoever, and then like a bunch of like XRP, and like that's my bucket. Once all of those assets on at like their liquidation value is exceeds $5,000, buy all these jerseys for this team. Of course, I'm gonna have to like do the logistics for that first. But when I have an idea, I don't want to just like keep dipping into my own like funds. I dip into my own like creative reserves when I do this stuff. I can't do that with my financial reserves. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you got this far, potatocore.mp4 signing out.